Hello everybody and welcome to the build video. It's been a while since this build came out, so I know it's late, but I keep getting people asking me what the build is, even though I'm putting it in some of my videos and in the descriptions of most of my videos. And it's a pretty widely known build. Not a lot of people use it, but it's very effective. It's probably the biggest damage dealing build that's out right now, especially since they just rebuffed Fire Hammer attack speed. It's top of the line right now. So this is Titan only. So if you're not a Titan, go somewhere else. This is Cryon space. We don't want any of that exquisite food or the buffet food or anything. We just eat crayons here. So there's a couple things you have to factor into your build depending on what you want to do. So if you're doing anything that requires a ton of damage, and I mean Grandmaster Nightfalls, you're not going to use this build. You're not. You're not going to use this build. Like 9 times out of 10, you're not going to use this build. If you're doing like a 1350 Master Nightfall, you can use this build. You're going to need a lot of damage, which is what this build is for, but you're also going to need stuns and stuff. So if you're doing like 1320s, you don't really need stuns for barrier champions, overload champions. You don't need any of that. For like 1320s and all that, you don't need any of the stuns or whatever. 1350s, you don't really need it either. But if you have the right buff stacks, you can actually do really good, and it actually works. A lot of it works. You actually might not need mods for 1350 if you know the build well enough. So, again, there's definitive stuff that you are going to need regardless, and then there is some stuff that is questionable that can be changed. So the things that you do need is a shotgun with 1-2 punch on it, nothing else. Like, that's all you need, 1-2 punch. You zoom in with it or get close enough to hit every pellet with one shotgun shot, and it buffs your attack, your melee damage for a couple seconds, maybe like 2. I think it's 2 or 3 seconds. You can get about 3 melees off before the buff goes away, and then you got to do it again. Tractor cannon you don't really need, but it does debuff the enemy and buff you at the same time, so it is helpful. So what you do is you debuff with tractor cannon since it lasts longer, and then you 1-2 punch, and then you throw hammer, throw hammer, throw hammer, shotgun, 1-2 punch again, throw hammer, throw hammer, throw hammer, and then you cycle back, tractor cannon, 1-2 punch, hammer, 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 and so on. You're only ever going to need like 1 or 2 hammers for like most things, but if you're fighting a boss, like the current Lake of Shadows 1350 Nightfall, you'll need a decent amount of hammers. So that's the rotation that you'll do. Another item that you will absolutely need is either Worm God, Caress, or Syntheseps. If you're not using those, it's not going to work. There is one other item that I might be able to use that I'm going to test later, but I haven't tried it yet, so I can't tell you. So again, if you do need to do more damage and stun champions at the same time, this is the build that you're going to use. If not, you can change what is on your mark. So for overloads, I have Thermoclastic Strike. What Thermoclastic Strike does is if you hit an enemy with a charged melee on your solar, which is the hammer that you're going to use nonstop, by the way, no cooldown, it'll stun the overloads. By the time you stun them, they should be dead, but if you do manage to have to stun them and throw another one, it will recharge your hammer, so you can throw it from a distance and then throw another one and it'll kill them most of the time. Withering Heat is to debuff champions like overloads, barrier, and unstoppables, and when you hit them with the hammer, the next time you hit them with the hammer, it does more damage. Or if you hit them with a fire grenade first, then it'll do more damage on the hammer. Or if you do a hammer and then throw a grenade, as long as you use a solar ability and then use another solar ability, the second solar ability will do more damage than the first time that it's used. That's what that's for. So that's on the mark. All of the item elements that you see that I have on are going to be the ideal item elements, but you can change, I forget which one, but one of them gives you a mod on this last slot that allows you, it's an arc one. It allows you to finish an enemy. I think it's the mark. It allows you to finish an enemy and you get your melee back. It's either the mark or the boots. Or did they just remove it? It looks like they just removed it. They must have removed it. That's weird. I don't know what. I know it was arc, so I'm kind of confused, but... Oh, there it is. I'm stupid. It's on the second one. It is on the mark. Right here. 1-2 finisher. Finishers restore melee abilities. If you use this on your arc mark, when you lose your hammer, if you're going to run out of your buff before you get your hammer back, you can always get an enemy down low enough, finish them, and it recharges your hammer. I was wondering why I couldn't find it. I've been looking for that for days. So you're going to want to use Synthoceps, like I said. Another thing you're going to want to use if you want to get your super up quick is Thermoclastic Booming. Every time you use a solar or stasis melee, it create an orb of power, as long as you kill something. So if you're surrounded by thralls and you're throwing your hammer, you're going to get an orb every single kill. You're going to get your super back so fast, it's unreal. And of course I have my unstoppable pulse rifle mod for my pulse rifle for when I do Grandmaster Nightfalls, obviously. For your helmet, you're going to want to run double hands-on. This gives you even more super for your super, like I said. The last slot of what you're going to use on here for these mods actually depends on how much energy you have in your items. So a lot of these items don't use the entirety of the energy. Like this one right here, I have one left. You're going to only want to use what you can. You're not always going to use all of your energy. So this one I have melee Wellmaker, 2 hands-on, and full recovery, or you can do resilience or whatever you use. I use resilience and recovery. For Synthoceps, I use resilience or recovery, which I should put it on recovery to be honest, but unstoppable, Thermoclastic Booming, and Well of Life. Well of Life, you get insane HP regeneration every time you pick up a fire well, and the way to get a fire well is every time with melee Wellmaker you kill an enemy with your hammer, your solar hammer, it drops a well. So you'll be healing non-stop if you kill stuff and pick up the wells. It's crazy. I love it. For this one I use close range and long range debuffs on the enemies. I'll use Elemental Ordnance because I get, with my 3 stacks of Roaring Burn, I think it's called, you get a lot of damage increased on your hammer and your grenade, and with that, if you throw a grenade and get kills with it, with Elemental Ordnance on, you actually get more Elemental Wells, which is another great method. For this one, I just use Grenade Rejuvenation. You can also use Absolution, but I use this one because it's more guaranteed to give you specifically Grenade Regeneration. I don't know if it's better or worse than the other one, but it's whatever. It's what I use. I have Well of Potency, and picking up a matching Elemental Well grants you super energy, so there's even more super energy. It's crazy. It's a lot of super energy stacking on each other. And like I said, the last one I used Resilience, Withering Heat, and Thermoclastic Strike. If you don't understand how the build works, let me explain it really quick since we're already at the 10-minute mark. If you use Middle Tree Titan, this is the build that I use. Middle Tree Titan with fusion grenades, just so I can stick it on people. You can also use thermite grenades, but I use fusion. With this build, it lets you throw hammers from a distance, and with my build, every hammer throw kill that you get an Orb of Power, double the super regeneration, elemental wells, healing, healing on orb pickup, and extra damage per fire ability, and it stacks up to 3 times. Now, like I said, it's called Burning Roar or Roaring Burn. I can't remember what it's called. It's one of the two. That is what is going to do your damage. So when you get 1 kill with a hammer, boom, throw your charged hammer, 1 kill, 1 stack. Throw it again, 2 stacks on the 2nd kill. Throw it again, 3rd kill, 3rd stack. The 3rd stack is where all the damage comes from. And then you tractor cannon and 1-2 punch. Everything dies. Literally everything dies. I think you hit up to like 500k right now, and it's absolutely insane. If you don't have your mod tree and you don't know what you want to get, this is what you get. You can do, where is it? You can do one of these instead. You can do Unstoppable Fusion Rifles, or you can do Disrupting Blade. Obviously, that kind of stuff doesn't matter. It's all depending on preference. But if you're going to be using Tractor Cannon, you can't use these, really. And 1-2 Punch, you can't really use these. So pick wisely what you want to use, because all of this stuff does not matter. That's based on preference, besides this one. And then this one you have to get Withering Heat. And you can get Thermoclastic Strike, but again, you don't need to. But if you're using this build, you'll want it. And then for the last one, you're going to want Well of Potency and Thermoclastic Booming. Focusing Lens does not matter unless if you're doing like Vogue or something. And the only reason that I have 3 on my last one is because it's bugged, and I don't want to explain why. That's the build. That's easy peasy. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry it took me 13 minutes. I'll try to make it quicker next time. But everyone keeps asking, so there you go. Thank you for coming. I'm dropping more content soon. I'm going to be soloing a lot more stuff, and hopefully this GM soon. So thank you for watching, and until the next video, peace out. Feels good to be back, man.